A quick side note, you can also use those leeward mark exit strategies when you have the 1-2-3 combination. Some additional 2-3-4 tips. If you start to get in trouble with your opponent, meaning they are starting to pass you, call for help and switch if necessary. In this situation, the leftmost white boat is starting to lose their red competitor. They should call for help from their point man. Unfortunately, in this case, the point man, who is luffing their jib there, is not in a good position. They are too far behind to help, and therefore their teammate's in trouble and has to handle the red boat by themselves. Remember, the point should stay in the middle of the course and ahead of both of their teammates. The second additional tip. Often in a 2-3-4, the 5-6 who you are covering bring the action to the middle of the course. They're hoping to create some confusion between you and your teammates. There's a rule, never duck your teammates in this situation. So never duck when you are covering an opponent, and I'll show you why. As the red boat here approaches their teammate, if they were to bear away and duck and keep sailing straight, blue boat sails straight, and now all of a sudden this red boat has much less of a good cover on the blue boat that they were covering. Let's back this up. If the two red teammates see this situation coming, they should communicate and say, let's switch. And by switching, they both pack. Let's see what happens there. As the two red boats approach, they say, hey, let's switch. Red boat here starts to tack. His teammate does attack as well. And now you can see as they exit, this teammate still has a perfect covering position on the blue boat. So remember, if you're covering an opponent, don't duck your teammates. See it in advance, call for the switch, and both of you tack. The 2-3-4 summary. The 2-3-4 focus on covering the 5 and the 6, balancing for each other when necessary. And remember, the point, the 2, should stay in the middle of the course, both upwind and downwind. That way they can help either side if necessary. Now let's discuss what to do if you're losing to a 2-3-4.
You know, the opposite of a 2-3-4 is a 1-5-6. The 1 can really try and compress the race. And, you know, try not to lose the 1, but to do as much disruption as possible to compress the race. And when the race gets really compressed, it's easy for, you know, the 5 or the 6 to, you know, slip by the 4, and then all of a sudden your 2-3-4 is a 2-3-5 and it's not stable anymore.
The 1-5-6 summary. The 1 keeps the 1 and tries to condense the race, while the 5 and 6 try to pass the 4 and then convert into the 1-4-5 winning combo. So far we have discussed two stable winning combos, the 1-2 and the 2-3-4. Let's discuss the final stable combo, the 1-4-5. The 1-4-5 occurs when one of your teammates is doing very well and they're in first place, and the other two teammates are not doing so well. They're in 4 and 5. Let's talk to Tim Wadlow and see what he thinks the 1-4-5 should do.
People often think when you're in a 1-4-5, the race is really quite even at that point. It's maybe a slight advantage to the 1-4-5 team. So in a 1-4-5, the 1's job is simply to keep the 1. And the 1 doesn't want to take a lot of risk. So the 1 should be, you know, staying maybe 5 boat lengths ahead. As you get better at keeping the 1, maybe you could only be a boat length or 2 ahead. Maybe you could start helping a little. But the main job of the 1 is just not to lose the 1, but to stay close. So you don't want to be a half a leg ahead. You want to be close, but never losing that 1. So when you're starting a downwind, it might be prudent to have a 10 boat length lead. Going upwind, maybe 2 or 3 boat lengths is enough. So then the 4 and the 5, the 4's job is just to go as fast as they can. And we'll talk about what the 2-3 are doing to them, but generally the 2 and the 3 are attacking the 4. And so the 4's job is just, you know, don't get pinned, don't get slowed down too much, don't foul, just keep going as fast as you can even though boats are attacking you. The 5's job is to hammer the 6 as hard as they can and ideally create a 4-5 gap. And so we call that gapping. And if the 5 can, you know, slow the 6 through trapping or, you know, pulling their boom to windward and create a big gap in the race, so now the 5-6 pair ends up way behind, then they make life very difficult for the team that's in 2-3-6. So we call that gapping, and a lot of times, you know, you'll come off a starting line in a race and you'll be like, all right, our team has the 1, I'm back here in 5th, not looking very good, I'm just going to start hammering on the 6.
The 1-4-5 summary. The 1 keeps the 1, sailing fast but not getting too far ahead. The 4 pushes the 2 and the 3 all the way to the finish line, while the 5 hammers the 6, trying to push this pair back as far as possible away from the fleet. The 2-3-6. If your team is losing to a 1-4-5, you have the 2-3-6. This is a tough one, but you can definitely convert into a winning combination. The first rule is that the 2 and the 3 should first try to pass the 1 if it's possible, just by using boat speed or possibly doing a high-low on the downwind leg. But if the 1 is so far ahead that it's clear they cannot catch them, they have to work backwards and do a double pass back on the 4-5, hopefully letting their teammate in 6 sail fast into the 2-3-4. Let's talk about a unique situation that happens with the 2-3-6. Often, the 5 on the 1-4-5 team has been hammering the 6, like they should do, and pushing them back. In this situation, if the 2 or the 3 were to leave this group and sail downwind or backwards in the race to go do this double pass back here, not on the same ladder rung of the race course, meaning they're no longer even doing a pass back. One pass back is up here, another one is down here. This leaves your team susceptible for the others to convert to a 1-2. You can see here you're leaving the other team with a 1-3 by sailing back in the race. So the 2 and the 3 should hammer the 4 together until the 5 and the 6 catch up, and then they split up, doing a double pass back and converting into the 2-3-4. Let's turn to Caleb Silsby on his advice on how the 2 and the 3 should double team the 4.
A lot of times the 1-4-5, which is what you're sailing against, will put in a big gap between the 4 and the 5. This means that the 2 and the 3 are going to have to double team the 4 to close that gap. The way you set up a double team is you'll have one teammate for the blue team to windward, preventing the red boat from tacking. The red boat can't tack in that position. Then the other teammate will be directly in front of the red boat, so the red boat has nowhere to go and has to actually head down lower, and their wind is blocked completely by the boat in front. Now once this opponent is paired up and balanced with the other opponent, then the double team splits off and they go and make that pass back. And that's how you convert a 2-3-6 into a 2-3-4.
So it is important for the 2-3 to work together and use their 2-on-1 advantage to slow the 4. The 2-3-6 summary. The 2 and the 3 should first try to pass the 1 if possible, but if the 1 is too far ahead, they have to work backwards and do a double pass back on the 4-5, allowing their 6th place teammate to move into the 2nd spot for the perfect 2-3-4. The 1-4-5 and 2-3-6 combos are fun, and with good teams, you can always expect some action. That's it for the 3 stable combos, so remember, your team always wants to be in either a 1-2, a 2-3-4, or a 1-4-5. Now that you know the winning combos you'd like to be in, you need to know how to convert into them.